So this is the 66th, can't even say that properly, 66th Cecil Shaw, try and say that really fast, 66th Cecil Shaw Memorial at a little town called Hamilton, just out in the western side of the Victorian countryside, and 120 kilometre handicap race. Quite a big field starting out. You can see I'm on the front here just doing my turn, and we've got quite a big group rolling with us. I think it was about 16 riders, 17 riders in the end, and it was a 3-lap course, 30. I think it was 30 or 40. So 40 k's per lap. And this is into the final lap now. So we've done 2 laps. We're probably at about the 80, probably the 90 kilometre mark, and we're all the groups are starting to come together. And you can see here our group is we've been rolling. There's no one been slacking off. Everyone's been rolling good hard turns. And we just got word, or up the road here a little bit, we just get word that the group behind us is very close. They're only 2 minutes behind us. So everyone sort of starts to probably think about, we're going to get caught. I've got to look after the legs. So some guys are sitting on taking it easy at this stage. But look, this group worked really well together up to this point. Now this video is just going to be a short video. I'm just going to cut to and from bits, but the point to note is we've rolled really hard turns with this group, but unfortunately the not the limit group, the chopping block, so that the second group from scratch, they were absolutely flying. And when they caught us along this road here, they literally catch us in about 2 or 3 kilometres. They were doing almost twice our speed, so it was just incredible. And this little video is just going to show you what happens when you get caught by the fastest group on the road. It turned out that Block was actually the fastest group. They ended up getting fastest time for the day. So when they catch us up here, literally half the guys I'm with now, in fact 3/4 of the guys I'm with now, just get spat out the arse straight away. Now that's how fast they were going. Now, just to set the scene, this is a crosswind from the right of screen, so it's a wet day, it's very cold. You can see in the metrics at the top I've included the temperature on the right-hand side there at 6 degrees Celsius. So it's quite a chilly day. My cadence and my heart rate and my speed. Unfortunately, my power meter wasn't working today, so you really can't see the power throughout the day, but I can assure you that my heart rate didn't get under 160 beats a minute, and for the whole race, and it was just tough. We were absolutely driving it to this point, and you'll see up here that my heart rate significantly increases after the group catches us. So just giving the screen a bit of a wipe here. Had to tilt it up just to make sure that you guys can see what's going on. In Australia, we have to use rear tail lights. You can see that most of the guys have got their rear tail lights running. Usually they run out 3/4 of the way through the race. The battery runs out, particularly on a long race. But it's just a safety precaution. Just to, we're on open roads. The roads aren't closed to just the cycling, so we have to let the traffic know what's going on. Now I'm yelling out here. You probably can't hear that. I've turned the volume on the GoPro right down because the sound's it's crackling a bit because the actual GoPro's bouncing around with inside the mount. But constantly talking to these guys, encouraging them, letting them know that they're doing a great job. You've got to keep the team rolling. If they're not rolling, you're getting caught. So everybody needs to roll a turn in the handicap race. As I said before in a previous video, it's exactly like a team time trial. So you can see everybody's pulling a turn, and there's no point abusing people. Some guys are here, when people sit on the back, they turn around and they abuse them. There's no point, because people just, they won't help out at all if you abuse them. So you just need to always be encouraging. If people need to sit on, that's okay, try to coerce them into getting back into it and rolling a few turns. Any turns are helpful, but today on this occasion we got caught just up the road here, and we were just outclassed. We're outgunned. We're a little bit all over the show at the moment. Everyone's very fatigued. As I said, we're 90 kilometres into a 120 kilometre bike race, and you know, you sort of start to get a bit fuzzy in the mind, you get a bit dehydrated, and you know, the fluidity of the rolling isn't as good. So this is the point where we get caught. Now watch how fast these guys are going, how much faster they're going than our group. I've pulled over to the left to let them through, and they are flying. So we were doing 35, 36k an hour, and we've suddenly jumped up to 50k an hour, 50 kilometers an hour. And you can see I've just tried to stay at the front. This is preservation mode right now. So we've jumped up to 50 kilometers an hour. We've got a crosswind from the right, and you can see I've just jumped straight on the wheel and started rolling turns. Okay, now there is a reason for that. If you get caught at the back in a crosswind, as I said, the wind's coming from right of screen. If you get caught in a crosswind at the back of a bunch, you will get spat straight out the arse. So I've decided to roll turns immediately with this group. You can see they're a much more efficient group. They're rolling hard turns, 50 kilometers an hour. My heart rate's just gone straight from 162 beats a minute on the far left-hand side there up to 175 beats a minute. And instantly, you know, that's probably out of a little bit of excitement and anxiety because, you know, the boys have come through and they're tearing through, but my max heart rate's 183, so you can see I'm at my max here straight away. And you know, that really outlines that there's a few boys that are in my group that are they're gone straight away. They are no longer with this group. So I've pulled over, I've pulled straight in. You can see we're hard left because of that crosswind, so we're hard over on the left hand side. This is the thing about cycling, is it looks easy. You know, like you look at these boys, you can't even tell that they're in the hurt house, but I am literally 7 beats a minute off my max heart rate. So I'm in the absolute hurt house here, just trying to stay with these boys, just trying to hold this guy on the greens wheel, and it's no easy feat. I'm wondering how long I'm going to be able to roll turns with these boys, because they're fit young blokes, and they're just tearing at a new one. There's a little bit of water on the screen here. I clear it off again, you know, in about a kilometre or so. So hang in there, just push through that. Not much you can do on wet roads like this. Very narrow road. So as I say, you know, see the land on the right hand side there. There's no trees over there, so we're getting that crosswind from the right hand side, and it's just smashing us. You can see I'm to the left of this guy's wheel. And the thing is, with the guys coming through on the left hand side, you know, it's really difficult for them to get through because you've got guys like me, they're just trying to get a bit of cover, and there's not much you can do about it. You know, you just have to push your way through. So it's very tight racing. See, our wheels are very close, but everyone's rolling turns because you don't want to get caught at the back. If you get caught right at the very back, you're literally in the left-hand gutter just trying to get some cover. So I've decided to keep rolling turns. Just keep going as long as I can until I blow, because otherwise, as I say, it's unsustainable sitting on the back. Just while we're rolling these turns, I'll just read out a couple of YouTube comments. Pato0114 says, "Hi, I race crits 3rd category, but I'm always struggling with my diet. What's your take on diet plans, etc.? Love the vids, by the way. Keep me coming." Right. That's a bit weird, but yeah, no, Pato, I'm a high carb vegan. I don't eat meat, dairy, any animal products whatsoever, and I believe in an 80-10-10, so a carbohydrate 80%, 10% fat, 10% protein, so low protein, low fat diet, high carbohydrates. And I find that is the best way to be an athlete. You can just train all day. I can't remember the last time I so-called bonked on a ride. So plenty of rice, lots of plant-based diet, fruits and vegetables, lots of fruits. But the thing is with plant-based diet, you have to eat large quantities of it, okay, to get the calories in. So you need, in my experience as a cyclist, 3,000 to 4,000, sometimes even higher calories per day. And I get most of those from carbohydrates. And I'm not fat by any stretch of the imagination. So definitely high carb vegan. Google it. Google the starch solution. Google some YouTubers. Durian Rider would be one. He's seems a bit crazy, but he's definitely on the money with his high carb vegan diet. He inspired me to get into it. And yeah, there's a few others. Vegan Gains, Freely the Banana Girl. So yeah, check those out and see what they eat. And they're definitely onto something, in my opinion, because I've done the paleo diet and other forms of diets, and I've found that this is definitely the best way to go for athletes, particularly endurance athletes, because you don't need excess protein. Protein builds muscle, and obviously you don't want to be carrying around excess muscle. So you can see here, just going back to the racing, we're just coming up over a hill. We've got that wind coming from the rider screen off a open field. So this picture does not paint how much pain I am in right now. There's guys getting spat left, right and centre. You can see I just passed a guy who's just getting dropped then. Just trying to get in that left gutter to try and get a little bit of cover behind number 41 here. And you'll see up here, this is probably the crux moment, because the guys at the front have absolutely smashed the hammer down. And you know, as I say, we're doing 40 k's an hour, but this is slightly uphill. So the boys are just flying at the front. And at this point right now, I'm just thinking, oh, please slow down a little bit so I don't get spat. But obviously they're not going to. They enjoy watching guys like me go at the arse. So I'm just, look at me, I'm just in that absolute gutter. And just trying to get a little bit of cover. And you can see we're just single file here, single file in the gutter. This is where you don't want to be. This is where you don't want to be, because you're just smashing down on the pedals into a crosswind. I've got no cover and I'm just hitting the wind. I'm at 176 beats a minute, almost at my max heart rate, just pleading. I've yelled at this guy, number 41, to go around this guy on the left that we just passed, because you can't be closing gaps constantly, right? So as soon as someone in front of you lets go of the wheel, you need to get around them immediately. And you can see here, there's guys dropping wheels left, right and centre. We're just hanging on as you just got to grit your teeth. I'm at 178 beats a minute. I'm 5 beats off my max heart rate. And I'm hurting. And I'm just thinking, God, just hang on a little bit longer. And you see there's more guys getting dropped. This is how hard this is. So I said to 41, we've got to go around him again. So there's more guys, we've got to bridge the gap. I mean, what a machine this guy is for bridging that gap too. All I did was just sit on his wheel. At 180 beats a minute, so I'm 3 beats a minute, another guy gets dropped. 181 beats a minute. So I'm literally just hanging on by a thread to this wheel. And I can see those trees in the distance. So you see those trees on the right-hand side? That means that we're going to get a bit of cover from the wind. Okay, the wind doesn't get through the trees very well. So I'm looking at those trees thinking, just hang on to the trees. Hang on to the trees. And bang, we're here. Straight away, the wind, I noticed as soon as we got in these trees on the right, the wind just dropped off. So just all I'm thinking to myself now is just hold the wheel. Just hold it 100 more meters. Just 100 more meters. You just get your heart rate and get the lactic acid back down again. Now this is what you've got to do in bike racing. As a cyclist, it is a hard sport. It is a hard-ass sport, right? You are gonna hurt, okay? And there are phases like this, moments like that last 2 kilometers there, where you just have to bite your handlebars. You just have to hold on as long as you can, okay? And you can see my heart rate's coming down. I'm 177 beats a minute. I'm still hurting, but the heart rate's just coming back down a bit. I'm sort of recovering a little bit. I got through the worst of it, and I hung on. Now, what I could have done is I could have let the wheel go. I could have got spat out the arse, but you know what? You've just got to hang on as long as you can, as long as you physically can. This guy in the kit there, in the BFA kit on the left, I don't think he was getting dropped. I just think he was just going to see where his mates were. But so again, we're back in that wind, open field again on the right-hand side, but I've got the heart rate back down to 167. So I've recovered just a little bit, just enough to be able to sort of hang onto the wheel. And still in the bike race. So Muscle Co. says, we are hosting a criterium race in Bakersfield, California in October 2015. What is a good way to reach out to riders? Thanks. Your videos are very informative. My pleasure. So, look, social media is the way to go, man. I don't need to tell you that you're on social media. I would create a little Instagram or Twitter hashtag for your event, and I'd promote it through social media, and then I'd ask people to share the hashtag, and I mean, I wouldn't send out emails. Obviously, send out emails to people you have permission with, but definitely get on YouTube, do some videos. Share videos of other people holding similar types of events. So share their videos, just let them know that you're holding an event, and if they ask them nicely if they could promote it. And I mean, look, it's a tough one because we're all trying to get, anyone involved in social media is trying to get more followers and more likes and stuff. But definitely social media is the way to go. I think you'll find a lot of people on social media to get information, but obviously people doing similar sorts of stuff to you, share their content, build a relationship with them, and then you can ask them to share your content and so on. So that's probably the best way to go about it. Obviously people, cyclists in your local community, ask them to share the details of it. But look, if you put on an awesome event, and people are going to want to do it. Like, if you put on an awesome criterium race, it may not be absolutely off the Richter in the first year, but 5 years down the track, it'll be, if you consistently do it every year at the same time, people are going to want to do it, and they're going to talk about it. So you got to get people talking about the event, and go from there. So I hope that helps. Look, I'm still learning the social media side of things. There's definitely people who do it way better than me, but get your ass on social media and pump out stuff every day if you can. If you're not working like me, I'm working, so it makes it hard, but get on there. Social media, smash it. So just giving the screen a little bit of a clean again so that you can see what's going on. So you can see heart rate down to 154 beats a minute. I got through that really hard phase and I can continue to race. And that's all it comes down to, man. You just have to bite the bullet. You just have to bite the handlebars and just get through those really hard bits, and you'll be still in the bike race, right? Those guys that got spat out the arse, if they just had hung on for a little bit longer, they'd still be able to race. Having said that, obviously there's moments where you can't hang on, but and you'll see that in a little while because I get dropped on a climb. There's something about climbs for me, I just can't get my ass over them. So it's quite a big climb coming up, and I wouldn't say a big climb, but it's quite consistent and it's long enough to hurt. And these boys were doing 30 kilometers an hour up this climb, and it was too quick for me, especially considering a lot of these guys are full-time bike riders who are riding a lot more than me. So I've decided to make up a few places here. I'm feeling good, down to 149 beats a minute, and I just thought it's time to get further up the front. When you're feeling good and the guys aren't flying along, you've got to pick your moments to move forward. So that was a smart time to move forward. Everyone's freewheeling, as you can see. It's a corner coming up, and there's also, after this corner, there's that hill that I was talking about. Quite a long, not a steep hill, but a long enough hill to hurt the legs, so I've decided to move closer to the front. so that when I start to blow, I can move back down through the riders in the bunch. So as we turn right onto this road, we're going practically straight into a headwind now, and within 2 or 3 kilometres there's quite a long, steady climb, and I can assure you I struggled, as I do on every climb that I do. So you can see my cadence is at 100 beats per minute. So I try to keep my cadence quite high. If you start getting tired and start pushing big gears, all right, so getting your cadence down to 80 RPM or 70 RPM to maintain the same speed, then you are pushing too big a gear and you're going to blow. Tired bike riders, good bike riders have always said to me that tired bike riders push big gears. Okay, so it's a telltale sign when somebody's tired. So if you're ever in a break with someone and they're stomping on a big gear and they're looking fatigued, that's a good time to attack them. You can see we're going up a hill here, and This is the prelude hill as we pop over the top of this to the bigger hill, but these little things were enough to hurt me, and to get the heart rate back up and then get a bit of lactic in the legs before that the main hill. So you can see we've only got the left-hand side of the road. Obviously the right-hand side of the road is for oncoming traffic, so we can't pass over those white lines like I just did then. It's okay to sort of pop over like that. I just didn't want to clash wheels, but definitely stay to the left of the road in these races, because you can get disqualified and get fined and get killed, which would be the worst case scenario. As you can see here, 174 beats a minute, so we're just popping up over this steady climb. It doesn't look like a hill on camera, but it's certainly enough to be hurting me right now, and especially after 115 or 110 k's I think we're at right now. So we're at the 110 kilometre mark, probably 10 to 15 kilometres to go. Popping that heart rate back up to almost my max and just thinking to myself, hang on, just get over this little berg. So you can see the guys drinking and eating. There's a guy on the left there just pouring out his water bottle. He knows that there's only 10 to 15 kilometres to go. Doesn't want to be carrying excess weight around, which is understandable, it's smart. So he's just pouring the rest of his water out into the road. And he's got 2 bottles there, so obviously he didn't drink much during the race. I think it's critical to keep drinking and eating throughout the race. You just need to keep your hydration up and to keep the sugar coming in. So we're doing 45 kilometres an hour into a headwind here. This just goes to show how fit these boys are. They're chasing hard. We still haven't caught the limit group, which is probably maybe a minute or so, 2 minutes further in front of us. And in fact, as we hit the base of this hill coming up, it's probably 2 k's to the base of this long climb. From memory, we could see the limit riders. So as you looked up the hill, you could see the limit group in the distance. So another little climb. You can see that with this road's just scattered with a few enough climbs just to hurt the legs, just to take a little bit of sting out of the legs. So we're passing a limit rider who got dropped there on the left-hand side. So it just goes to show how fast we're going. I mean, we're doing 30 kilometres up a hill here. We're not going slow. Actually, so this is the start of the main climb. Okay, this climb's about 2 to 3 kilometres long. Again, as I say, nearly 30 kilometres an hour going up here, which is absolutely flying. And my heart rate's starting to get up again. I've got the lactic in the legs. You can see I'm trying to keep my cadence high. Bit of mind over matter again is what is required here, because I can see in the distance. I'm sort of looking up into those trees on the right hand side there, and that's where the sort of climb goes up through those trees. And you can see I've absolutely blown. Bang. That was it. That was enough for me. I just lactic in the legs, in the herd house. I sort of had a second go here just to try to get on the back, but that's it. So that's my race done. Now Scratch hasn't caught us. I know Scratch is behind us. So this is as I said, this is Chopping Block, the group just before Scratch. They were 4 minutes prior. Speed the footage up here. We're still going up a hill. Elliot Colley says, "Hi Mark, crashing is a common inconvenience in races. Do you insure your bike? For those like me who find it hard to drop the same amount of cash on a brand new bike, what would you recommend to do prior and after an accidental crash during a race? Love your videos, keep them coming." Thanks, Elliot. Yeah, look, I don't insure my bike or bikes at all, but probably the smarter thing is if you can't afford to damage your bike, maybe get a cheaper bike to race on, or maybe some cheap racing wheels. Might be a good option. There are companies now that will insure your bike, so that could be a good option. It's worth exploring, but no, I don't insure. So I just personally insure it. This is where Scratch catches, so you can see here, I just sped the footage up. I was on my own just for a couple of kilometres, and then Scratch come past me on the left hand side here, absolutely flying. Bit of sting taken out of the legs there for Scratch because they haven't caught anyone yet. They know they've only got 10 k's to go, so they know that they're racing for fastest time. And as it turned out, unfortunately for them, Block was the group that got fastest time, so bit of a shame. Bit of a shame for them.
This is Tommy Trash.
So I'm just having a chat with Connor Murtaugh here. He's rides for the Charter Mason group there, number 13. Very good bike rider. Now he is a high carb vegan, and he is living proof that athletes can race at the top level. And he's an NRS cyclist. He won the race the following day. So this is the Hamilton 120. There was the 100-kilometre Victorian State Championships the day after this race, and Connor ended up winning it. So you can just see, look, a high-carb vegan diet is definitely the way to go for athletes. And the few Charter Mason boys, so the Cycling Tips sponsored Charter Mason group. And in front of him is one of the African Wildlife Safari boys, Darcy Woolley. He's a very good bike rider himself, but unfortunately he's on his own. He doesn't have any teammates in this race. He's racing against 3 or 4 Charter Mason boys. And so Connor's sitting on his wheel here, making sure that Darcy doesn't get fastest time, which is fair enough. He's just tagging him here, like you would in football if you've got a tagger. That's exactly what Connor's doing. He's just sitting on his wheel. As soon as Darcy attacks, Connor's going to be all over him. So they think they're racing for fastest time. They don't know this yet, but as I say, Block ended up getting it in the end. So a few boys have just yelled out to the guys that have been picked up here, and just, the guys that have been spat out the arse and just picked up by Scratch, just sitting on. You just got to stay out of their way. Let them race for fastest time. Try not to interfere in their racing. I'm just having a chat with Connor here. He's just said to me, he's just keeping an eye on Darcy, making sure that he doesn't attack. If he does, he's just going to be straight on his wheel. So you'll be able to see it up here in a little while. The boys get a bit feisty and a few attacks go. And the main thing, number 81 and myself and a few other boys, we just see Darcy look over his left shoulder there at Connor, just to see who was there. And you can see here he goes, he's pushing on the pedals. Connor's gone with it, just covering it. And this is elite bike racing at its best. So I've just pushed forward. I just want to keep an eye on what's going on as well, just to stay back. Not going to pass those boys. just basically for a bit of YouTube viewing. That's all I'm doing. So you can see a few of the charter mason crew. There's probably 3 to 4. Yeah, there's 4 of them all up there in the field of view. And Darcy's got his back up against the wall here because there's really not much he can do. If he was to attack, any of the charter mason boys would be straight all over it. So he was probably better off just sitting in and just trying to have a sprint at the end. But then again, there's not much you can do there either, because with a few Ks to go, the charter mason boys would be mad if they just weren't 1-2ing him, just constantly attacking and making him cover every move. So you can see he goes here, and Connor's all over it. The charter mason boys, they're not chasing that because Connor's there with it. So you can see the young fella, I didn't get his number there, but he's tried to go across that gap. And this is just a bit of survival to the finish now. For us, I've got about 10 blokes sitting on my wheel. We've been caught by scratch, and the chances of any of us, well, I mean, there's just no point now, because the chances of us catching the group in front are pretty much non-existent, because they were absolutely flying. And so, there's no point me sprinting against this group, because I'm not gonna. There's no placings up for grabs. There's about 30 blokes in front of us up the road, about 2Ks. So it's just hang on here. Just watch these guys race for fastest time. In handicap races, fastest time is quite a prestigious prize. Obviously, usually it's scratch who wins it. So it's a good thing to win the race, but obviously fastest time's another great prize. And you can see there in the distance, one of the charter mason boys just attacked again. So the other 3 guys are just going to sit in and just watch him go up the road. And this is how it happens even in the Tour de France or any big race. The teams, one guy or 2 guys will attack, and the rest of the team will just sit up and watch them attack, see who goes across, and then they'll just cover everything. And it just depends on the circumstances, obviously. If they're trying to send someone up the road, they just keep individual riders from within the team will just attack at certain times, and the rest of the team will just sit in. So anyway, that's pretty much the end of that. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of commentary. Nothing too exciting. Unfortunately, I didn't get to the end of the race to have a sprint, but nonetheless, great training. I'll keep the videos coming, and we've got a few more road races for the Australian Winter Racing Series. And then we're back into criteriums, which is going to be awesome, because in Melbourne we do anywhere from 3 to 5 criteriums per week, so that means a lot more videos, a lot more tips. So keep watching, subscribe to the channel, and like this video if you like it, and I'll see you soon.
Oh, they're crossing the line.
Just stop the